Broadcast live.
Yeah. We're just dancing on it, don't look too deep into it, don't look too deep into it.
Welcome to the third edition of The Red Couch. I'm sitting here with Strictly BK, and she just dropped the remix of Never Been My Type.
Yes, I have.
With Tshego. First of all, how did you get, wait, let me start at the beginning. How are you? I always go like straightforward.
I'm okay, hey?
Yeah?
I'm okay. I'm in a very, very excited space. Like
Yeah.
right now, I'm in a great space musically with everything that's just booming here and there and there. But yeah.
Yeah. That makes me happy, man. How did you get Tshego on the remix? I saw the track came out and
Yeah.
not soon after, like you had Tshego on the remix. How did you get that?
You know, the funny thing is, I always wanted to do a song with Tshego because I'm currently working on a project right now, and at the beginning of it I was like, oh, I want to get Tshego on a track, and then, you know, they told me this, that, and that, and the other, and then I was like, okay, cool, Lord, please, I'm just putting it out there, I'd like to work with Tshego someday, somehow. And then I was performing at Shakana's launch, and Tshego happened to be there, and I performed Never Been My Type, and then he approached me afterwards, and he was like, yo, if you want, we can actually do like a remix. I'd love to jump into the song, this, that, that. And I was like, thank you.
That's dope.
You
That's
do
dope.
listen!
Yeah. Had you already known though that you wanted to get in touch with him, or?
No, well, look, it was one of those things. He was on my wish list of people
okay.
to work with, you know what I mean? So when that happened, it was like, this is actually perfect.
Yeah,
It's
the
something
universe.
that the universe just made it happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know what song I wanted him on. I just knew that at some point in my career, I do want to work with that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's they? You said, you know, they told me stories, and who's they?
Ish, the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the suit.
How is it working with the suit? I've asked you this before, but
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it that, you know, you've come such a long way from the person I got introduced to. Shout out to VG, man. You put me on, bro. Like
Shout out
6
to
years ago,
VG.
he DM'd me
Yeah.
your link, and I was just like, what is going on? Were they trying to sign you at the time to Cashtime? Like, what was going on there?
With the Cashtime thing, I think it was, I don't know actually, I think it was something like that, because, you know, I got hit up by KO and Sulu, and they said they heard my stuff on radio, and, you know, they wanted to get to hear more of my stuff. I sent them more of my stuff, and they absolutely loved what I was doing. And then, you know, we got into the freestyle stuff, which was them just trying to kind of introduce me into the hip-hop community and all of that stuff. I was supposed to be under them, but I chose to kind of like walk because I felt like it was all taking too long, you know, because they had a different plan, I had a different plan, and, you know, there was other artists that came before me that also needed the attention, and I was already in my own thing, doing my own thing, and I was like, actually, you know what, it's cool, guys, like, you know, I'll just
Yeah,
do my
that's
own
so
thing.
interesting. When I first discovered you on the freestyle you did for the song,
Yeah.
I think I was trying to remember this morning who it was, but I told someone, I was like, yo, BK, bruh, she's such an amazing rapper. And the person was like, what? I know her as a vocalist. Like, what's the backstory on there? Like, when did you start rapping and the singing? Like, what came first? Because
Okay.
it looks like you have a long history in the game.
There's a long history of me in
Yeah.
music. Okay, we start right at the beginning. Right at the beginning.
Let's.
Right at the beginning. People like Your Reasons know me when I first got into hip hop, and I came in as a producer. I was making beats, and I was working on an all-female project, and then somewhere along the line, I decided, you know what, I can sing, guys. So, you know, started messing around with some of my friends in studio, doing like backing vocals here and there, features here and there on house tracks. Yes, I did house, you know.
Girl.
I sang on some house tracks there, but hip hop has always been like, you know, my first love when it comes to a genre, you know. And then 2014, my brother was working on his street tape, and I was like, yo man, I sing rap, you know, let me just.
Where did the rapping come from? Like, did you teach yourself? Did you, have you
With
always-
rapping, it's something that I've always done, like as a closet rapper, just always writing, you know, rhymes here and there by myself. From the time I was producing beats, even before that, like in high school. I never really considered myself a rapper until I actually rapped on a song and it sounded good, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know? And then from there, you know, the song dropped. I rapped on, you know, the track in 2014. The song dropped, went onto radio, and then that's when KO and VG and them kind of picked it up and helped me groom my rapper side of myself. Not that they, no. They never taught me how to rap, guys. I knew how to rap, okay? They just helped me with the confidence, like just the confidence to actually get out there and do it confidently as a rapper and say, you know what, I'm here, I'm doing this, and no one can tell me anything. Yeah.
That's so crazy, man. Like, yeah, so now it all makes sense. When you put it like that, it all makes sense. Producing, girl.
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that? How'd you learn that?
Well, look, I can play an instrument. I can play the keys. Well, the last I checked, I haven't actually produced anything in forever. But when I studying sound engineering, by the way, I'm a sound engineer. So I started.
Like next thing she'll be saying, yo, I used to be a porn star. I'm just saying, like you got so many bones in this closet.
Yeah, there's too many skeletons in there. But anyway, when I studied sound engineering, you know, anyone who's studying sound will actually relate to what I'm saying. That when you are studying sound engineering, they also teach you the studio side of things, which they teach you the software and, you know, all of those plugins that you use and, you know, the sequences and all of that. So when I was still studying sound engineering, I used to like, you know, messing around in the studio with the second years. I was never in class. I was always in the studio with the second years because I felt like the theory is boring, you know. So then I learned how to make beats then. And then when I branched off on my own, I just flourished because, you know, the musical ear was there. I understood the software, you know, I understood drum patterns and beats and all of that, and I listened to a whole lot of hip hop, so it all came naturally to me.
That's so powerful. As a person now, you've come so long. It's been like 10 years since you were that person who was producing. And now in the industry, you are at a place where I feel like your career is about to lift off.
Yeah.
I also feel like your career has been lifting off for a while.
Yeah.
It's like it's been like a long, slow lift off, and I think that happens with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, where you are right now, 2018, in the space that you're in, where's your headspace right now?
My headspace right now is in, you know, obviously going a step up from where I am. You know, like you said, everything has just been gradual. Thank God for me that nothing has actually rolled back. If I look back at my growth, it's just been steady growth, you know, there's always progress. Every year there's progress, you know. And right now I'm just looking at the next step of my progress, and that is to like break into mainstream, like really break into mainstream, where someone even in the rurals in KZN somewhere will know who PK is.
Yeah.
You know, that's where my headspace is at right now, and also just working on my current project and just finishing that and making sure that it's a timeless project, you know, something at least really, really dope and doesn't just cater just to one taste, it caters to all kind of tastes, yeah.
So, are you a singer or are you a rapper? And I know it's difficult to answer that question, but your album is coming up. So, where are you in the game? Are you a singer or are you a rapper?
I'm both because I'm talented in both, and I don't want to suffocate the other for the sake of the other. Okay. So, I'm coming into the game like, guys, this is who I am. This is what I can do. I'm a singer and I'm a rapper. You know, when I choose my category to tando mu PK, got now I will PK babili bala. So yeah.
How do you feel about being left out of the conversation of, I hate using this phrase, but let me rather say women in hip hop, not the female rapper. And I also thought about the fact that at some point everybody's left out before they end. I remember back in the day, 3 years ago, Rouge was someone from Pretoria that only people from the scene knew, but now she's in the conversation. Muzi was never in the conversation, she was a presenter. And it's the same with you. And Gigi at some point, she was just some girl who did iGenesis, and she was a crazy cypher rapper, but she was not a strong, prominent person in conversation. And these things grow gradually over time. For me, I feel like you're an amazing rapper. Listen, okay. Maybe because I've seen it and I've heard you. You came through in cyphers and you just bodied the guys, and I was like, you know. But knowing what you're capable of, how do you feel about being left out of the conversation of the female rappers or the women in hip hop conversation?
You know, to be honest, I think at first it used to touch me, where I was like, You know, does the hip hop community not recognize me? Do they not see that I am there? Even with the bit that I've done and the cosigns that I have, because I've got pretty big cosigns, do they not see that? Do they not recognize and say, okay, cool, she is part of the hip hop community? But then another part of me was like, you know what, BK, just let your work speak for yourself. You know, speak for itself. Like, if you work and push, eventually you cannot be ignored. Eventually you're gonna get, you know, spoken about and talked about, just so like everybody else, like your Rouges, your Gigi's and all of them. There was once upon a time, like you said, where they didn't even get mentioned, and now they do get mentioned, you know. So it's just one of those things. I mean, there's other dope rappers out there who don't get mentioned, and I'm like, damn, but this chick is pushing and she's doing her thing, but she doesn't get mentioned.
The
like,
list is endless,
you know.
Nels, Assessa.
Exactly. I was about to say Nels,
Yeah,
actually. You know,
yeah.
Nels is pushing really hard, and there's a lot of chicks out there. But I guess the in the game, you have to literally have like flares coming out of your head in order
That is
to
so
see you
true.
like, hey,
You have to cartwheel backwards.
exactly.
I know,
you know what I
know,
mean?
I know.
Twerk on a handstand or some shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going back to that moment though, where you were saying that are people not seeing the cosigns, the work? In your understanding, in your head, were you know, was the work you were doing enough to be noticed?
You know what?
Were the cosigns enough to be noticed? Like,
To be honest,
we're backing
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
because
yeah.
obviously you've grown out of that.
Yeah.
But when you look back and you think about it, did you honestly think that a cosign and like the amount of work that you had put in that time?
No. To be honest, if I look back at it, like, what did I drop? Like 2 freestyles?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I dropped like, you know, Paula, I dropped Mojito back then, you know, and I was sitting on like 2 singles that were on radio. Well, Paula was on radio, Mojito was on, you know, radio, but there was no visuals or anything. There was nothing that said, hey, I am seriously in mainstream and I'm doing this, you know. So I feel like maybe I didn't do enough work back then. But I feel like with the cosigns I had, at least, you know, it should have done something, you know, because there's some kids I know. I mean, I was complaining the one time, and I hope they watch this, by the way. I was saying to my manager, I think probably about a month and a half ago, and I was like, geez, man, Hype Magazine has never actually written about me. They've never said anything about me. And I feel like as a rapper, you know, they should have by now, you know, with my track record. I mean, I don't have just 2 singles out anymore. I mean, there was No That after that, there was this one, and you know what I mean? And I feel like with the cosigns that I had at the time and still have, you know, it was enough to do something. Even right now, you know, your most underground guy that you don't know will be, you know, in a spread like Hype Magazine, having, you know, them written about him or whatnot and stuff like that. You know, stuff like that. But like, going off on a tangent.
It's
but
okay.
like,
This is the couch.
but like, yeah, I feel like with the cosigns, you know, something should have happened. You know. Am I feeling entitled? I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I overreacting? I don't know. All I know is that that's how I felt back then. And my outlook on everything now is just a little bit different. You know, it's a little bit different, a little bit more understanding of how things work now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My response to your entitlement and overreacting would be that you're an artist.
Yeah.
And I will admit, part of being an artist is being entitled.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an active thing to say I'm entitled. It's just the level of passion.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the front row person.
Yeah.
You know how much you're working hard.
Yeah.
And it frustrates you that other people don't see it.
Yeah.
But going back to your Hype Mag feature, I wanted, when you raised that up in my head, I asked myself, had you ever submitted anything to them?
I did. I actually wrote and sent an email, and this was before the suit, you know, when I was still pushing on my own. I had sent an email to one of the editors just introducing myself, because I'm that kind of artist, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mind going the extra mile and doing the work on my own.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check, because for me it sounded like you wanted them to write about you when you were not on their radar. Because it does happen sometimes where I don't know you at all.
Yeah.
How am I going to write about you?
Yeah.
But I mean, so I just wanted to double check that, you know, you were not like being
No,
like,
no, I wasn't
"Yo,
sitting there on
do
some,
you-"
well, someone's supposed to notice
Exactly,
me now.
exactly.
No,
That's
no,
what I
no.
wanted to check.
No. I did send them an email
Yeah, okay.
once upon a time, you know, just introducing myself with
Yeah.
the link to all my stuff and all of that stuff. And it was dollars. It was
Yeah, but you do know that
absolutely-
one email is not enough, though, right? I'm just saying, like, there's just so many things to this, BK. There's layers.
I
There's
know.
layers, especially for upcoming artists.
Yeah.
Like, one email is not enough. You need
Hence
to
why
check
the
after a
suit now.
week. Yeah.
Hence
Yeah.
why the suit now. Because I was like, you know what, actually doing this on my own. Because I'd like to think that I'm a sensitive person, like especially with people who have worked with me, they know that I'm a sensitive person. I'm very much in my feelings when I am, like I express myself. You know, if I want to cry, I will cry. If I want to fuck out, I will fuck out. You know, if I'm happy, I'll be happy. So just grinding some way somehow started to touch me, and I started to feel some type of way. So when the suit came along, I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
somebody can just
how did
take
the
over.
Suit Connect come up? I mean, it's very rare that you get, you know, upcoming artists signed into major labels.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's a certain type of artist.
Yeah.
That the major labels will always put their trust in. So
Yeah.
how did your connect come about?
You know, it was crazy because at the time I was releasing my first single, Paula, and Shimza was launching his album, Shim Music. So because I was on the album, he said to me, yo, can you come through to perform one of the songs that we did, what. Okay, cool. I went there, and then I ran into Bradley at Shimza's thing, you know. And when I ran into Bradley at Shimza's thing, Bradley's like, hey, BK, because I've known Bradley forever. It's like, hey, BK, how are you? Cool. Where you at? What you working on? I'm like, yo, actually, I'm dropping my single, you know, around my next week. You know, I'll send you the link and whatnot. He's like, no, actually, send it to me and let me give it a listen. And I was like, okay, cool. I thought he was playing. And then the next day, he sent me a text like, yo, please send me your song. I'd like to play it at the A&R meeting we're having this afternoon. And I was like, okay, well, why would it hurt, you know? So I sent them my single, Paula. That afternoon, I got a call that afternoon, and they were like, yo, you know, everyone's crazy about your stuff and we'd like to offer you something. So what happened is they offered me a partnership, and they're like, okay, cool, BK, you know, the license deal, blah, 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 blah. That went on. I released Dafego. And then towards the end of 2015, yeah, well, it's 2018 now, right?
Yeah, it's
yes.
2018.
Okay, towards the end of 2016, right? I don't want to get my dates mixed up. Towards the end of 2016, I got another offer for them where they were like, yo, how would you like to be under us, like completely, because we believe in what you do, and we played your song for Sony International in the States, and they loved it. They went bananas over it, so we want to sign you up. And I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, what do I got to lose, you know?
That's true,
So yeah.
Max, he wanna be in it like a tempest. No, don't ever touch it, watch your distance. Watch me work it to the floor, don't ever
Broadcast live